I do not know what is dropping faster, consumer sentiment, the stock market, or Donald Trump's approval rating. But either way, we all know who is to blame, our economically illiterate president, and of course his co-president in Elon Musk as well. Things are going so poorly from MAGA, and they're only about to get worse, with the recent passing of their horrendous and dangerous budget through Congress, that Donald Trump knows what he has to do in this moment. And that's either try to make a scene and distract us, which he has failed to do, or run away and hide, which seems like the plan. It's certainly the plan of MAGA Republicans who refuse to do town halls. And now it's the plan of Donald Trump, who is too afraid to talk to reporters, too afraid to have a press conference, in which he's not just railing against his political enemies, but someone who is filling that messaging vacuum is Governor Tim Walz, who held a rally, or really town hall, in a Republican district in Iowa yesterday, and delivered a knockout blow to scared little Donald Trump, and we're going to get into all of it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's check out Tim Walz.
But this issue around healthcare and the issue around Medicare and the things we're talking about, we've got people now that are exactly like this story, worried about basic human right of healthcare and decency in their life. And I own this. The idea that millions of people stayed home because they didn't think there was any difference between Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and myself on the ticket, they didn't think that. And we need to acknowledge that. I think one of the reasons is that when Democrats have been in power, we've been timid about passing things that make a difference on their lives. And why do we have citizens that are in this situation? Why are we at that point when we are the richest nation on earth, and yet our outcomes are 41st, and we spend twice as much as any nation next to us? We should demand a redo of this system in a way that makes a difference on that, because I think it's very hard that we have to win elections, but good politics follows good policy. And the ACA was an improvement, but let's be honest. The ACA is still a pain in the ass to get things paid, to get things done. It's important protection like pre-existing conditions, but it's still too expensive. And so what I would say to you is, we need to tell your son that we need a healthcare system that he doesn't have to worry that one election could throw him out and into the streets, that one election would make a difference.
I think acknowledging that there are flaws with our party right now, there are problems with how we message, and just saying that Tim Walz feels the weight of that election loss makes me so confident in him as a leader. Someone willing to take accountability, someone willing to look at past mistakes, someone without ego. And that is what Tim Walz has demonstrated over and over and over again, that his focus will always be on us. It's the reason why the disgusting attacks on his service fell so flat, because Tim Walz has spent his life both in the military as a teacher in Congress, as governor caring about the people. That is what he has focused on. Donald Trump has never done that either, as J.D. Vance or Elon Musk, and it's the reason why we heard this from Tim Walz.
And again, I got to be honest with you. They hate public education. I think they hate it for the reason we all know in here. It's easier to run an authoritarian government if you don't have a population that knows. So again, obviously I don't have all the answers, but I think it's appealing to people's sense of decency. Again, I should be careful about that. I thought a message that we should value all people, and we should have an immigration policy that adheres to the law but adheres to humanity. And they talked about eating dogs and cats, and they won. And so I myself am soul searching when I hear this. How in God's name, of all the money that's being spent and all the tax cuts they're giving, we can't fund those interventions that we know make a difference in millions of children's lives? I can't believe America wouldn't go for that.
They attack education not just because they're stupid, not only because they don't understand the value of, but because they don't have educators in their lives. As Tim Walz said, these are people who are incredibly out of touch and prove to be so every day, no matter what they are talking about. It's the reason why they think they can just get away with these massive cuts, that they can lie to us. And sure, it helps when you have a massive propaganda outlet to facilitate those lies. But when people are confronted with them in the grocery store, at the gas pump, when they lose their Medicaid, it's a lot more difficult to SP on Fox, which is actually something Tim Walz brought up here.
Require him to have town halls. Look, I got asked that question. I got asked the question, who's in charge? Who's the leader of the Democratic Party, Governor? And I said, the people are. And for 3 days on Fox News, they're like making fun, you know, the bungholes that are in the morning, like talking, oh, Walz doesn't even know who the leader of the party is. Well, you know why? They sure know where it is. They know who their leader is because Chap lived from butt kissing one person. So, demand it. There is not going to be a charismatic leader ride in and do this. It is going to be people coming out on a beautiful Friday afternoon, demanding change and holding people accountable. So,
I love just how unapologetic he is. And there's been a lot of conversation around whether or not Tim Walz might have been subdued a little bit on the campaign trail if he was told to cut back. And honestly, I feel like the Tim Walz we saw in the first couple of weeks, who was calling Elon Musk weird, Republican strange, J.D. Vance a loser, maybe was reined in by some consultants on Kamala Harris's campaign, which is upsetting considering how popular and exciting this version of Tim Walz is. Let Walz be Walz from the window to the walls. Like, bring that back. That's what I wanted of Tim Walz. Well, this is what we need at Democrats. This is what we're talking about so much. No one is more authentic than Tim Walz. He is him, so let him be him. And I think that's the approach that he's taking from now on, which is great, and we certainly saw some of it right here.
to hear what people are irritated about. And I would argue that Democratic officials should hear the primal scream that's coming from America is do something, damn it. This is wrong. This is wrong. And independence. And there's nothing conservative about an unelected South African Nepo baby firing people at the VA. And for our Republican neighbors now, all of a sudden they're like, I wanted my 401k to go down. I wanted this, you know. This idea that you would be okay. Can you imagine if President Barack Obama had brought his unelected African friend to cut? You know what I mean? How they think to cut the government. This is wrong. And your member of Congress is there to be your voice, is there to push back.
This is how we have to deliver our message. Just make it clear. Elon Musk is a neo-baby. Elon Musk inherited much like Donald Trump. A lot of his wealth. Elon Musk has used the government to make his money. Elon Musk is a liar. He's a hypocrite. And he's just a weird guy that we don't want around our government, plain and simple and delivered perfectly by Tim Walz. He is being such an incredible leader right now. It's the reason I want to start with that clip of him talking about where the party may be going wrong right now, because he's leading us in a direction of not just calling out Donald Trump, but kind of evaluating ourselves, which I think is incredibly important because it's not just enough to talk about Donald Trump. We have to offer up an alternative. And then Tim Walz did a great job of that. That new speaking with Chris Hayes right here.
Business president, he is the worst possible business executive that I have ever witnessed. And I hope, you know, this is what we need. I need the business community to speak up. The Wall Street Journal, thank you. Thank you for saying this is the stupidest trade war, because I've been saying it. And so now I can go back to my constituents, Republican constituents, and say, this is the reality of what you're facing. So again, there is going to be pain. The richness of a sitting senator like Tommy Tuberville or Elon Musk telling us we're going to have to endure pain. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I think Americans have had it. I hope they've had it, and now we just need to do what we can do to make the case. And I own this. We wouldn't be in this mess if we'd have won the election, and we didn't. We have to make sure that Americans know it's not just that Donald Trump is bad, but we're offering them something better. And I think that's what we need to work on.
Let me ask you about that. You said I own this. I mean, obviously, I think. Look, after any election, there's just a billion different counterfactuals you can run. There's so many different things. One of the things I've seen in a few interviews you've given, which I think is interesting, is a sense that the campaign that you and your running mate Kamala Harris ran was risk averse, that it was careful. And one of the things I've really perceived is it seems to me there's a huge gap between Musk, Trump, and MAGA world, which seem recklessly risk-seeking. I mean, truly, there's no amount of risk they can't brook. Like, they really want as much risk as possible. And Democrats who seem excessively risk-averse. Do you think it's a fair characterization? Am I onto something here?
No, I think you are. And look, I'm conservative. I believe that systems work for a long time, that you don't have to break them. Are there improvements that need to be done? Yes. And I think we're guilty of sometimes of not acting. Could the Department of Education be more efficient? Absolutely. Are there things we can do there? To get rid of it makes no sense. And so my point on this, and again, I'm probably the last person to give advice because we didn't get it done, but I just felt like Donald Trump floods the zone with this. And I think, Chris, if you'd go ask the average American, what does the Department of Education do? They might not have a clear vision of it. So when Trump says it's a bunch of bureaucrats interfering with your local schools, give local control, we'll give you the money, it sounds pretty good. And we have not provided what that alternative looks like. Right. And so, yeah, I think it's fair. And look, I do agree. And I think there's a place for this, the disruptors, the folks that shake up systems in a way that are positive for people. But I keep saying this. What is the goal at the end of the day? What is the goal and where is it backed up? There's not a single economist backs tariffs. There's no one there. You know, Linda McMahon, I bet she's never been in a public school. What is she going to do to improve our students' outcomes and lives? And there's a vacuum for us to fill. We should get out there and fill it. Talk about what we're going to do.
Now, Governor WALZ has made it clear that he is participating in this town hall. He is going to red districts because, of course, he cares about the upcoming midterms he wants to seize on this moment. But I don't think 20,126 is the only thing he has his eyes set on. I think 2028 might be in play. I don't know. He's also very focused on being a great governor of Minnesota, one of the best states in our nation. Who knows? Maybe he could also be focused on the White House. I don't know if that's his plan. I would love to hear if you would be excited about a Tim Walz campaign, even if he's not your number one choice. We just need a guy like him delivering this message. Primaries are good. It is good to have a big, open, exciting primary. Now, I don't want all these C candidates personally attacking each other. That would be bad. But putting out new ideas, demonstrating our deep bench, I think it's great. I'm all in on a Wallace run. I'm fully here for it. And we're going to be talking about all those ideas he's presenting on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And also, I made a couple of changes to the home studio. Where I am right now, if you like them, let me know. Until next time, I'll see you soon.